for Liverpool.
I haven't seen this yet, so you guys are going to carry me through that because I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, I didn't see it. I didn't see that.
I did. That's all
right. I didn't see the penalty incident with Liverpool and Wolves. I've not watched any replays from the penalty incident between Liverpool and Wolves. But as I said in the group chat last night, it was absolutely definitely a penalty to Wolves. It shouldn't have been. It shouldn't have been disallowed.
As Josh was saying, it's one of those times where VAR has actually got it right, which we never talk about things that VAR have got right. Now, is that just because we don't focus on the things that VAR gets right, or is it because it doesn't actually fucking happen that often?
I think with VAR getting things right is it gets things right a lot of the time. It's just our idea of what's right. Like with the offsides, for example, like the offside decisions by law are right.
Yeah.
What's morally good for the game is fucked.
Well, people want this element of like margin of error, don't they, when it comes to offside? But the problem is when you're using technology to define if someone's offside or not, it is black or white. You are either offside or you are not offside. So you can't apply margin of error to that, because if you're doing that, then all you're doing is changing the point where the margin of error occurs. So if you give someone, say, 10 centimetres, say 10 centimetres of the margin of error, well, now the VAR is just going to be checking to make sure someone is not 11 centimetres. Like, it's just, you're just shifting where the issue is.
Shifting that 1 centimetre from one point to the other.
Exactly. So the problem is if they want to do anything with, I don't know, VAR and offside rule, don't use VAR to check offside. That's the only way that they're going to make you fair. Either don't use VAR to check offside, or use it to, well, the glaringly obvious ones, or implement like a umpire's call rule, like they do in cricket. So if it is within a certain number of centimetres on or off, then they stay with what the on-field decision was, because then that puts the onus back on the linesman, it puts the onus back on the referee to make that decision there, and then I think that's the only way you're going to fix it. Either that or get rid of it. So
I quite like that idea, actually. Like, you could almost even, like, I know different sport, but even in the NFL where they have like a challenge system where they can challenge the on-field refs.
Yeah.
I mean, if they get it wrong, for example, it's like a goal scored and there's an offside and Ollie goes, now I want to challenge it. Bring in the 5 substitutions, and if you challenge one of them decisions and get it wrong, you lose one of your 5 subs.
Yeah.
It's a way to do it. Like, challenge systems work in every single sport. There's got to be a way we can implement it in football, surely.
Yeah.
We just got to stop being so black and white, don't you think? Like that one where Watkins was offside for Villa against West Ham, was it last week?
Yeah.
How long have you got to sit in Stockley and draw lines for to try and prove that someone was offside by a centimetre? Just let it go. Let it go. Like, it's literally by a fraction of a hair. And you know what? I'm going to put my bias aside. They've been happening all season, haven't they? Mane shouldn't have had his chalked off in the Merseyside derby. Let's face it.
No.
Very fucking harsh. Leeds have had one, I think, from what I can remember this season. Yeah. That was like a toenail offside. Just let
he had his arm. He was pointing for where he wanted the ball.
Yeah, it was Bamford, wasn't it, with his arm?
Yeah.
That was it.
But the thing is, all you're doing there, though, is at what point do you then say, actually, that's enough of a gap to say, yeah, well, we will rule on that one, but we won't rule on that one because who decides what's too close to rule on? So this is where I think the only way you'll clear it up is to introduce that margin of error. And if the gap is within that margin of error, then no matter what, whether it's onside or not, they stick with whatever the referee says on field. That's how they do it in cricket. If in cricket it's an LBW, the ball's on line, it's hitting the pad before bat. Like, if the height of the ball and the line of the ball was close enough to the top or the side of hitting the wicket, if Hawkeye was to continue the play on, then because it's so marginally close and they can't say for certain that that's where they were, then they say, right, well, the umpire has already said not out, even though it's showing it might have actually hit the wickets to a certain degree. The umpire, it's so close. The umpires, we're just going to stick with the umpire's decision, and the players know that. The players will just be right, fine. Like, there's nothing we can do about that. We'll have some that go against us, some that go for us. It's just one of those things. In cricket, they get on with it fine. In rugby, they get on with VAR fine. I just don't get what it is about football where you just can't do it. I think you should get rid of Stockley Park, to be honest. Bring screens into the stadium. Put screens in the stadiums. Get rid of Stockley Park. Make the referees look at the screen and make the decision with the the television match official. So in rugby, the television match official is sat there watching the game alongside. And if they spot something that the referee has missed, they'll tell him in his ear. And the people on audience watching at home can hear that conversation happening. Then the referee will say, okay, well, let's have a look. TMO will say to the referee, this is what I think has happened. Put it up on big screen. People at home can see it. People in the stadium can see it. Everyone can hear the conversation going between the referee and the TMO. He makes a decision based on what he's seen, and then they just go through it and say, right, it's a penalty, or it's not a try, or it's held up, or it's a red card, high tackle. Like, it's so easy to do, but there's just such a reluctance to do it in football. I just don't get it. I don't understand why.
We've been saying this since day one of VAR, though, haven't we? Unfortunately, with nearly 3 years down the line, we're still having exactly the same conversations. Why did they not bring in experts from every single sport that uses videos? Like I say, it's so simple. It's so simple. I don't agree with you, Clinton. You said about removing the I can't remember how you phrased it. Was it removing the margin of error? Yeah. Because that does something to defensive tactics. As much as we all agree that football is about attacking play and scoring goals, there are 4 or 5 defenders on a pitch for a reason.
Yeah. And you pay a lot of money for those defenders for that reason. Yeah,
exactly. So it takes away from that. If they are going to stay black and white, just it's fucking wanking it.
Yeah.
It's hard.
If you could scrap it, would you?
No,
I don't think I would.
Because I think it's doing good for the game. I just think it needs the English FA's head taken out their own arse, and it needs a proper independent body to come in and sort it out.
I get rid.
Stockley's the biggest problem.
I'd get rid, honestly. You know what nailed the point home for me? When Marshall saved that penalty for Scotland against who the fuck were they playing in the playoff? Serbia. And he saved the penalty, and instead of running off and celebrating like you should have done, you've got your countries to the Euros, he was looking at the ref going, was that okay? Yeah. Was that okay? Was that fine? Nah, you're destroying the game, sorry. Dale, do you agree with me, or are you fucking backing it? I just lost me rag with it, mate.
I've kind of just gone past the point of just caring now. I mean, it seems to be brought up every other week. Even every week, and I'm just kind of just getting used to it now. You know, a team scores the goal, and automatically I'm just waiting a minute or two to get the check done. You know, I mean, the prime example was it that Bamford one with his arm. I mean, we all know it shouldn't really have been offside, but as soon as you saw it, it's like it's going to be given that, and it's just like, right, that's part of the game now. It's offside, right? Move on, let's go. I've just kind of gone. The amount of times we sort of moan about it, whatever. I just kind of, it's part and parcel of the game now, unfortunately. And you know, if there's any changes that do take place, it won't be till next season. But you know, are they looking at changing it? I'm not hearing anything about it, so just got to learn to just carry on with it. It is what it is. You know, if it's offside, it's offside. Carry on. That's all I think at the minute.
I think one of the biggest issues with the way that it's being used is I think that the technology itself is technically doing its job. It is doing its job. We're able to see and watch back everything that's going on in clear detail. But the rules of football are so fluid, and they're so not like ambiguous, but there are ambiguities in the rules which make it so hard to police exactly. So offside is just one. The Man United scored a goal on Saturday, where it looked like the ball had gone out of play.
It definitely went out of play.
So again, they can't check. They were trying to use VAR to check that, but you can't. Then we've not even mentioned. Well, Dale did, but slightly, but we've not even mentioned the handball debacle yet. So and not only is all of that factored in, so you've got all the rules that are ambiguous in the way that they're applied, but then you've got the referees and the linesmen that aren't applying things consistently. So you'll have some referees some linesmen that will put the flag up when someone's offside and some that won't and let it play on. Or you'll have some referees that will go over and look at the screen immediately and then some that won't. And you're almost getting the two classes of referee now, where you'll have one referee that'll be confident. Maybe he's been in a good run of good games, made a run of good decisions. He's confident, so he'll make the decision and he'll say, "Yeah, I'm deciding that." Maybe you'll have another referee who's come under fire, like I think it was David Coote most recently, who now will shy away from making the decisions because he knows that he's got people sat like 100 miles away in a little box watching the game for him. So he doesn't need to make a decision anymore because someone will make it for him and he gets sloppy. So he'll think, well, it doesn't matter if I get it slightly wrong because I'll get corrected for it. Now, this is where it's causing the problems. I think that as well as everything that we described previously about how that they should be taking the lead from sports like rugby and cricket and American football, is also the sort of the uniform application of officiating by referees and linesmen, because otherwise you're not going to get a consistent approach, especially with the handball. The handball rule is ridiculous. Like, they tried to simplify it by saying, right, if it hits any part of your arm, then it's a penalty, no matter what, in the box. Now that everyone knows that's stupid, because if you jump for the ball and your arm's in an unnatural position, it's not your fault if it hits your arm. It's not intentional. I thought the rules of handball were supposed to be intentional. But
don't even get us started on the handball stuff, because we'll be fucking here all night on that, I'm telling you.
But it's just like when, for example, United won that famous penalty against PSG in the last minute to knock them out last year, the year before. But that was a ridiculous example of the handball rule. Like, Kimpembe jumped for that, and he did slightly turn his back, but he's not handballed on purpose. He's not stuck his hand out. He's not done a Suarez, has he, and kept the ball in play, or a Thierry Henry. No one's doing those sorts of challenges. But if you look at the flip side of it, you could say, well, is there then an art form to getting your hands in the way whilst making it look like you've done it by accident? So another ambiguity in the laws. It's almost like they're unenforceable through the use of such a precise technology. I don't know.
Something was mentioned before as well about was it our first or our second when we thought the ball went out of play?
First,
yeah,
right.
Equaliser.
But listen, and this might be the biased man in me talking. If it's on the pitch when you kick it and it lands on the pitch, why does it matter?
Again, that's a rule in rugby. Like, the ball has to touch the ground or someone that is off the field for it to be out. The ball could technically travel. You could hold the ball over the line if you want to, because the line extends through you in rugby.
Well, this is what I'm saying. Like, so why is that out? Like, why can't I take a corner and fucking swing it back in, so it's going right above the goal and coming out? Why can't I do that? If it's not touching the fucking line, if it's not on the floor outside of the fucking line, what the fuck does it matter? And West Ham fans are like raging. They're like, "Oh, it fucking went out. It went out." How about you defend? Just defend.
I'd say exactly like that. Because if a fullback is on the line and marking a through ball, and a player is good enough to whip it round him, and he can't go off the pitch to touch the ball, like, where does it stop? You can't do it. Like, out is out. Simple as that.
But this is what I'm saying, Danny. There's levels. And if you can do that, then you deserve your free ball.
No, but if you can do that, there's nothing stopping a defender blocking it. But if a defender blocks it while he's off the pitch, then what's going on? Is it a throw into you because the ball's already off? Is it a throw into them because you've knocked it off even though you're off the pitch stopping it there? Like, there's no out's out. I'm sorry, I'm complete disagreement. Out is out.
If it's within your skills to do so, what's the difference between that and, I don't know, a striker being quicker than a defender? What's the difference between that and having Jared Bowen being one-on-one with Maguire and Jared Bowen having twice the speed that Maguire's got? That's not his fault. He's faster. Just like it's not an attacker's fault if they can play a ball like that.
Well, hypothesize it. Say Masuaku has to run 3 yards off the pitch to clear this ball, and he's playing at Old Trafford, and he's a divot at the side of the pitch, and now he's stuck in the stands, and we've got multi-balls, so the ball ready to play, and he's out of position, and he's off the pitch. Unfair advantage straight away. He's been brilliant enough to block that ball, and he's been punished by it because of the way pitches work.
Yeah.
That's a poor example. There would never be a divot at Old Trafford.
I kind of get both sides.
I still don't understand the Old Trafford pitch, mate. I don't understand why it fucking verges up after about 2 yards. It's really weird.
It's a physics lesson for another day, that.
But, I think...
Like, players we see running down the line and then stopping and just fucking slipping down it.
I think the main reason why the line extends up around the pitch is because the line extends up in the goal. Because the ball can be over the line in the goal, and it's a goal. You can't then not have that same rule around the rest of the pitch. I think it's that simple as the reason why. Whereas in rugby, you have to ground the ball. The ball has to be downward pressure on the floor. So that's why the rule doesn't extend in rugby, because I've seen people jump from inside the pitch and hit the ball back in that was going out for a line out. Like, imagine if you could see footballers doing that. You'd have a load of people fucking landing funny on the floor, but because you'd only be able to do it with your head, wouldn't you? But yeah, I agree with Danny on this one. I think it'd be mad if you do that.
We need to be careful about what we say here, because if David Ellery ever listens to this podcast, he's going to be fucking welling. He's going to be like, there's about 7 changes I can make for next week there.
Well, Wenger wanted to do it. Wenger wanted to bring in being able to swing corners in, so the ball that can't go out during a corner.
Well, didn't he? You wanted kick-ins instead of swings.
Yeah, which is just silly. Well, then again, I saw a stat earlier. Which Premier League footballer has got the most? Bellerin, that's him. The most foul throws this year with 5. Now, I'm sorry, but that should be a week's wages docked.
Listen, right. Bellerin has more foul throws against him than Arsenal have wins this season.
Can we... that's a terrible start line. Can we just cut to
it's
Dale?
So incompetent.
Because as soon as Bellerin was mentioned, Dale purposely turned away from the screen and started taking a swig of his drink as if to say, like, I'm not getting involved here. No, Dale, I want you to get involved. What do you think of Bellerin and his foul flows, mate?
He might as well have been playing basketball, mate. I mean, you're getting paid, what, 150 grand a week for that? I mean, he did about 3 in the first 5 minutes or so.
Yeah.
It was on.
It's just amateur stuff for that, isn't it? It's really bad. I mean, for a professional footballer, not to do it once, but to do it like 3 times in the same game.
Yeah.
Never mind amateur. If we're playing Sunday League and someone does a foul throw, they're getting fucking lynched for it.
Yeah. It's the most simple thing to do. I think a throw-in is simpler than passing the ball, because there's still things that could go wrong with passing the ball. With a throw-in, you're literally just throwing it out your hands. And what is it? What's the rule? That you've got to let go of the ball with your hands in front of your elbows or something like that? Yeah,
the ball's got to go before it passes your head, I believe.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that bit.
Yeah.
What, so you can't let go of it there?
No.
I don't think so. I don't know. It's probably been changed about 4 times since I last looked at the rule.
But the thing is, it's weird because I know a foul throw when I see one, but I don't know what makes it a foul throw.
Yeah, because you
Like,
can't
I would
go
know
to the
how to.
floor as long as it travels more than 3 or 4 yards, I believe. But
I tell you what, one rule they should bring in is being able to take a throw into yourself.
yeah, I agree.
That'd be good. You can do that in rugby as well. That'd be good. It has to go at least 5 meters in rugby, but you can throw it up to yourself.
So players that could really do with that, Hector Bellerin, and playing for a club like Arsenal, boys. What the fuck has happened to them?
What did I say on the podcast the other week when I did the review of Arsenal and Leeds? I had 3 words then.
Yeah. Please replay it.
If they don't get a result,
Absolute dire at the minute.
yeah, if they don't get a result this weekend, Arteta's got to go.
Yeah, I agree.
You can't. I mean, it's bad enough if they don't
Who've
get
they
a result.
got?
Burnley.
Oh, Jesus.
At home?
I think he's away, you know.
Oh, it's not
Someone double
check,
check.
that, is it?
Someone double check me on that. But I'm so fed up of hearing about Arteta's won the FA Cup. Are they at home? Well, that's a bonus for him at least. Well, no, actually, you'd think that, wouldn't you? But every time they play at home, they just seem to they play worse at home.
Oh, our fans, won't they?
But
They've got to actually score a goal, yeah. I mean, earlier,
they're getting told.
They're quite a solid team.
Yeah, Burnley are a bit like Sheffield United. I don't think, apart from City, I don't think their Premier League position really warrants I don't think their Premier League position reflects the performances you put in at times this season. But we're getting force fed at the moment that Arteta's got this project on and he's building an identity at Arsenal, and you know it's a project for the future, and he needs to be given time, and they're playing good football. Are they? But where's the good football? They're not scoring any goals. They're not doing.
No, that's been the biggest issue.
It's just tippy tappy, and then no end product. There's just nothing excites me. I watched them against Spurs yesterday, and not once did I think Arsenal were going to score.
This is what I don't get. Like, Jamie Redknapp was banging on. It must have been about 3 minutes before the end of the game. He's like, oh yeah, Arteta must have loads of positive coming out of this. They've played really good football. They've dominated possession. I literally turned to my dad and I was like, have we been watching different games?
Yeah.
They've had all the possession, because at 55 minutes or 60 minutes, whenever it was, Jose Mourinho was like, yeah, I'm done. I'm putting no defender on. If through Ben Davies on, I'm taking my 2-0 win. And I think Lloris made one save, and it was from that Lacazette header. You can't have 71% possession and force a keeper to make one comfortable save.
No. It's shocking, really, because we've been proponents of it, but calling for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to be in trouble. And I mean, if we win our game in hand, we go 2 points off top. And Arsenal are currently 11th. And even if they win their next game,
go down 15.
16th, aren't they? Yeah.
Sorry, 15th. I was reading the amount of games they'd played. But yeah, so I mean, even then, they've got teams around them like Brighton. If Brighton get a point here, they go just behind Arsenal.
If Brighton win, they go level, don't they?
If they win, they go above them. Oh wait, sorry, this is a live table, so yeah, they will go level. Leeds, they're down there with Leeds. Newcastle, they're on this. They've got more points. Sorry, less points than Newcastle, and Newcastle have got a game in hand over them. So, what are they doing? And do you know what? One of the biggest things that's been looming over them all season is Mesut Özil. You can't have someone that you're paying £350,000 a week to, and not even put him in the squad, in the Premier League registered squad. You'd at least just put him in, even if you don't like him. I'm sorry, but the way it's going for him at the minute, trying him out now would probably be their best bet to try and start getting things back on track again. I mean, I don't care how lazy he is. They don't need someone to be a runner in midfield. They've got Thomas Partey and people like that to do that sort of job. Just give the ball to him and just watch him flick balls through to Aubameyang and Lacazette if he plays them in their correct positions as well, which he's not. So it kind of makes you think like, was he half asleep when he was underneath Guardiola? Or what's he learned? Nothing.
It's funny you say about Thomas Partey running. You know, he's a fantastic runner. He likes to run off the field while play's still going on and let Arsenal score. Or Spurs score, rather.
Best part about that was Arteta at one point, when it showed the reverse camera angle, was almost telling him to come off and then forcing him back on when they realised there was danger. And they've blamed Partey for it. No. He's following manager's instructions there. Arteta's been like, yeah, you know what? We'll get the sub done now. You clearly can't play. Oh, fucking hell, get back there. Like, they're fucked. I don't get it. Like you said, he must have been half asleep while he was under Pep.
Yeah.
I don't see
anything.
The comparison to United. I get where you've come from there. Very young, inexperienced manager, especially at this level.
Club legend.
Building, won a little bit of silverware. They're fucking 15.
Yeah.
They're in less points per game than Emery was, and Emery was lambasted.
Yeah,
An experienced and proven manager was lambasted. And
Good
Arteta's getting, and he, yeah, and Arteta's getting away with it. Why? Because he spent a few seasons there.
Yeah.
If anything, he's more of a fucking Everton legend than he is Arsenal. Like, I don't get it.
It's because he won the FA Cup, innit? They're gonna Arsenal. I don't think. I definitely think they're in danger of not being considered a top 6 club anymore.
Not
because
they're in danger. They're more in danger of being considered a top 6 club.
Yeah, this is it. Like they're shocking. And what's the way back for them? Like, what do? They can't sign anyone because they're still paying out loads for Özil and Pepe, his contract and transfer fee. They say they were going to pay like 7 million a year for 10 years or something because they couldn't afford him. But they can't sign any more players unless they sell them. So Özil's not going to go anywhere because no one's going to pay his wages. Özil's like the Bale of Real Madrid.
If you're Mesut Özil, why would you leave?
Exactly,
like,
you wouldn't.
You're very happy taking 300 grand a week from Arsenal to sit down and
tweet.
not play. Yeah, tweeting. Yeah, he's fucking like Benjamin Mendy. It's just Twitter. But you're there. You're fighting a good cause. You're donating half your wages to charity every month.
Yeah,
and they don't want to play you because of that cause.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck them. Rinse every single penny out of them that you can. And then when his contract is up, I don't know when his contract is over, but I assume it's a couple of years now, maybe like 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Go to Turkey, go back to Germany. You'll be a fucking hero. You'll be an absolute hero. That lad was one of the best number 10s we've ever seen. And that club have just ruined him.
He's Champions League winner as well, isn't he?
Champions League winner, yeah. He was
Champions League, La Liga.
Yeah. Like, the guy was a baller. He probably still is. He probably still is a baller. We look at Juan Mata. I compare them to a lot because of their age and how they've played in the past. Juan Mata still does it for Man United when he comes off from the bench. Mm-hmm. Like you said, Lee, what damage would it do bringing us that last 30 minutes against Spurs?
He'd score more goals. Like he would get, he'd get 10 assists a season if he started. Easily. 10 assists a season.
Clubs are
that's 10 goals.
With the press. That's what a lot of it is. I think the politics is part of it, but I think because Özil's not seen as a, winds his sleeves up and does all the hard work player, he's been sort of left behind with this fucking obsession with like teams and we have to be fit and we have to press all the time. Do you see fucking Messi pressing? No. Guy is absolutely world class. Messi doesn't need to press. The guy gets the ball and makes magic happen. That's what he does. Özil is that kind of player. I'm not saying he's as good as fucking Messi. No one is. But he's so fucking good. He can see things that very, very, very few other players can. And you're leaving him out of your squad.
I know.
I saw Arsenal fans today saying we should get Guendouzi back. No, why don't you just fucking call Özil?
I mean, talk about some of the weird takes I've seen this week. I've seen Chelsea fans think they're signing Pogba from us. fucking messing? Are they messing? They spent 200 odd million this summer, and they think they're going to buy Pogba from
You've not
United.
seen that. You've not seen that. Who's told you Pogba signing for Chelsea?
I don't know. I don't think he's going to, but there are Chelsea fans out there that think he will. And
you can have him and his fucking train wreck agent, and you can send N'Golo Kante up the other way. That's fine for me.
Yeah, we'll take that.
Quite thoughtful, actually. Let's move on to Paul Pogba and his...
And then I'll turn my PlayStation off and save my game.
Talk about Paul Pogba and his knobhead of an agent.
One agent who, as today, said he's trying to delete FIFA. Like, what is he? Talking about playing PlayStation. That's the only way you're deleting FIFA, mate. The guy, he's come out today and said he's trying to delete FIFA, as in he wants to make like his own football organisation.
He's a knobhead. He's gone. He's absolutely.
He's a clown. He's an absolute clown.
Welcome to Minoball.
Honestly, so the newest thing that's come out today, for anyone that may not have seen this on Monday morning today, was Mina Raiola's come out and basically said that Paul Pogba is finished at Manchester United. And I feel like we've been here before. Like, this has happened multiple times during Paul Pogba. Exactly. And since Paul Pogba signed for Man United, he's been finished at Man United. So I agree, he's shit, and I can't stand him anymore. I can't stand the way that he sits back and loses the ball 40 times a game. But for his agent to come out and say that the morning before a huge Champions League game for Manchester United where we need a point, and ahead of a Manchester derby on the weekend. Now, this is almost akin to Pogba dyeing his hair blue before the match.
How to say that?
So what on earth are they going... Well, we know exactly what on earth they're going on about. Simon Jordan had this out with Mina Raiola until Raiola threw his dummy out of the pram and ended the call. But basically, it's all about money. He wants to force Pogba through a big move to one of the other European giants like Juventus or... Well, Madrid, I don't think would be able to afford him at this point. They certainly said that they can't buy anyone until 2022. So Pogba will likely go back to Juventus. He won't go to another Premier League club because they can't afford him. So it'll be Juventus if he's going to go anywhere, which will mean them offloading a few players. Ramsey would probably be top of that list. Emre Can.
A big Cristiano.
Possibly, yeah. And he'll probably go to the MLS. I reckon. So, with all that being said, the sooner the better. Just get rid of him and get rid of his agent, and tell any player that wants to come to Manchester United in the future that if he is their agent, you drop him or you don't join Manchester United. Simple as that. Alex Ferguson called this knobhead out years ago, and he's just completely lived up to his expectation. He's trying to become bigger than football. He thinks he's the class of Jorge Mendes, but he's just a fat twat that just runs his mouth at any opportunity. I'm sick of him. And Pogba. Just get rid of him.
Does Raiola represent any other Manchester United players?
Sure does. There's one that we're all thinking of.
Who's that?
Has been touted for a loan move to
Jay Lings. Listen, right, I'm going to...
Jesse Lingard, is it?
Yeah.
Take him with you, please.
we did very well last summer when we were dealing with... Oh, no, it was last January, actually. We were dealing with the Haaland transfer. And Ollie said, or supposedly has said, I'm not dealing with Raiola.
Good.
And that's why we've not signed Haaland. And you know what? Fair enough. The guy is a cancer for football clubs.
Yeah, he is.
And I'm in agreement with you, Lee. I don't care how good the player is. I think if he's associated with him, I don't want him at the club. He takes players and shifts them on every 2 to 3 years for a payday for himself.
Yeah.
He is absolutely awful. I'm going to defend Pogba a little bit here, and I didn't think I'd do this for a while. I thought he was exceptional on Saturday night.
I thought he was great.
Possibly.
I thought it was the best game he's had, probably since he dyed his hair blue against Man City.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he was really, really good. I thought he did give the ball away a lot, but you know what? So does Bruno, and I slate Bruno a lot for it until I sit down and realise that he's giving the ball away a lot because he's trying to make it happen.
Yeah, but he actually makes things happen for it as well. Pogba stands around in his own third of his third of the pitch, loses the ball a few times, and then gives a penalty away. So
you're right. Pogba just scores like 30 yard screamers. That's all he does.
Yeah. So it's all he does.
The thing is, though,
he's been lining that shot for 5 years.
He doesn't do it often enough for me, Pogba, to be worth having that agent being a knobhead constantly.
This is where I was going with that. Like, I want to give him full credit because I don't think it's fair to slate a player 99 times out of 100 and then not praise him for the one.
Yeah.
On his day, and he showed it again on Saturday, that when he wants to and when he turns up and when it clicks, he is fucking brilliant. But for his inconsistency, for his laziness, and for his agent, if this is his swan song, if this is goodbye, you know what? Thanks for coming back, Paul. Fergie was right to get rid of you 5 years ago, or whenever he got rid of you, 7 years ago. Fergie was right all along.
Yeah.
Thank you for the shirt sales. I'm sure Adidas have made a lot of money from you.
Yeah.
Time to move on.
And people are starting to say,
"Go on, Lee."
I was just going to say, people are starting to like try and tout who his replacement will be now, and I'm like, we've already got his replacement in Bruno and Van der Beek. Like, we won't sign someone to replace Pogba. We'll probably sign a defender, if anything, in place of that money. So,
I mean, what is his position? I mean, that's what I want to know. He's been there like 5 years and he's played X, Y, and Z, and I still haven't had the foggiest of where his natural spot is in the team or in the midfield, wherever that is.
If I'm playing manager, I'm playing him as a deep line playmaker. The quarterback position, the number 6.
I'm a staunch advocate.
The Premier League is not Football Manager. It doesn't work.
I'm a staunch advocate of Pogba, and I will defend him because I think he gets made to be a scapegoat a lot of the time for when United aren't playing well. But when you said that last week, Dale, and Danny, you turned around and went, his best position is actually centre midfield for Juventus, I was sat there thinking, fuck, that's funny, that. I can't not laugh at that. Fuck off. Speaking of...
do you know what it is? He suits that league. He suits the Italian league. He likes having a lot of time on the ball and being able to pick the pass. And we don't have the runners in our team to get his passing range moving. And we've spoken about this before, that just certain players don't work in certain leagues. I love using him. Diego Forlan just couldn't really cut it in the Prem against unless he was playing Liverpool. And then when it became the best striker in Europe. Like, some players work and some players don't. It's one of them things. But we should be able to get a nice transfer fee for him. Easily make our money back on him. Because we paid, 90 for him? I reckon we'll easily get 90 back for him. Yeah. No doubt about it. The way football's changed now, I think we'll get 90.
Well, that's it, isn't it? I mean, he gets criticised a lot, but at the end of the day, it did cost 90 million.
Yeah.
And, you're expecting world-class performances sort of week in, week out for that amount of money. You look at the fee we paid for Bruno at like 50 million or whatever it is, but look at the performances Bruno's putting in.
Oh Christ!
Basically, 11 months. He's done by far, more than what Pogba's done in 5 years. But at 90 million, the bar's set at so high. And you're expecting a player to perform at that level sort of week in, week out and justify this 90 million. But, when you, like I say, he is a bit of he comes across a bit of a lazy player on the pitch, the way he goes about his business. And like I say, it's just so inconsistent. Like I say, he's put that, an half decent performance in there on Saturday. And when's the next time we're going to see that? Again, it's frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah,
very frustrating for a player that the potential, how good he is, and you've seen it at Juve and that, and you see it for France. It is frustrating, and like you say, Dan, it's probably certain players just fit certain teams, and it's just not kind of worked out for him at United. Second time round, unfortunately.
Do you know who
The thing
else is a world-class player in a team that's not playing very well at the moment? Rodriguez. What happened with Everton on the weekend, mate?
I expected it, to be honest. I know I predicted 2-1 Everton away, but we're not firing, are we? We've had our moment of glory at the start of the season, and then it's all gone back to normal for us. I'm not going to act like I was expecting us to dominate the Premier League this year, but I was half expecting us to build upon that start and at least challenge for maybe like 6th Europa spot, something like that would have been nice. But yeah, I'm the way that things are going now, I'll be expecting us to get about mid-table again. Don't think we're really doing too well, are we? It's disappointing for me, to be honest.
I think after 5 games, you were on 13 points. And then you follow in 6 games, you've got 4 points.
Yeah, and you know what? They played us off the park. They deserved more than just a point from us, really. They're a bit of a bogey team for us at Turf Moor, though. Like, I'm sure last couple of seasons we really struggle against them at Turf Moor. You shouldn't. I know they've got a good defence and a good defensive record. It should be, if you're challenging for Europe, you should be beating Burnley, in my opinion. Whether it's at Turf Moor or Goodison Park, it's the sort of team you need to be beating. They've not got much by way of strikers. They've not got much going up front, really, and that's showed by the stats for the goals this season. They don't score many, do they?
No.
But I always knew they'd score past us. We've got Pickford in net, and we've got a dodgy defence.
Well, that's it. I think it's Everton. I mean, they've kept 1 clean sheet, I think, all season.
Yeah, opening
And that was the opening game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
With Tottenham.
Yeah, and even then they absolutely battered us. They should have scored.
You know, is that part of the issue at the moment? Is yeah, we know Everton can score goals. We've got the players there, but it's the other end of the pitch. Can they keep them out? Which,
I'm about to say that because it's not a goal scoring problem. DCL is absolutely fucking flying.
He only needs.
Well, you've got the creativity up there, haven't you? I mean, Rodriguez. I mean, Richarlison's back now. Decore and Allen, they think they can get forward as well. Digne can get forward to the left.
He's a real big miss.
Yeah, that's for me. That's the issue. So we've obviously got issues with the defence. There's a problem there. I don't think that Yerry Mina's good enough. He's probably good enough for a lower league, Premier League side, but not good enough for somebody challenging for Europe, in my opinion. Too prone to mistakes, too clumsy, just doesn't look steady on the ball, doesn't look confident on the ball. And then Michael Keane's probably the most consistent this year, but if you look at what he was like last year, you know that he is capable of messing up. So it doesn't fill me with 100% confidence in him. And then Coleman's never fully recovered from his leg break, which is a shame. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's come back and he's doing a good enough job. But when he's out, which he is every other game now, there's nobody to cover him there. Because, I mean, Ben Godfrey's a centre-half. And he's playing at right back. And then against Burnley, he played at left back. So,
Yeah, I didn't
the poor lad's getting played out of position. And then Luca Dean's out. I would have played in Nkunku, really. I think we spoke about it in previous one. He's played some good games in the Cup. I know it's against smaller clubs, but they're still good games. He's still putting the effort in. So I'd give him a run. That's his natural position. It's not Ben Godfrey's natural position.
What's happened to Andre Gomez as well? He seems to have gone downhill a little bit as well since his leg break.
The leg break just really, really fucks players up, and it's such a shame that it's very rare you see a player that gets his leg snapped come back the same. I think we were very lucky with Antonio Valencia, really, that because he adapted his position and he adapted his game style, he came back to somewhat of a higher standard. But apart from that, it's very rare you see someone come back firing on all cylinders.
I thought he was all right when he came on Gomez, though.
Yeah, he looked half decent, but I don't think you could start him. That's the thing now. I think the players that he's bringing in, and you look at that midfield that we've got a good engine there in midfield now. Andre Gomez can't keep up with them. not the three main lads in midfield. And then there's a lot to be said for Sigurdsson missing an absolute sitter at the end as well for us. So, that guy's never fully paid his transfer fee back for me. It doesn't matter how many screamers he scores. There's another 10 sitters missed before he gets one screamer.
Yeah.
So it's a waste of money for me.
Do you know who had a good game?
Swansea, you got him.
Yeah.
Yeah, Swansea, yeah. Do you know who had a good game? I can't believe I'm going to say this. You must know who I'm going to say. Iwobi.
I like Iwobi has found a position in these wing backs.
Yeah.
I think, like we've said it before, he is an absolute athlete. He's quick, strong. He looks like he likes a challenge. Like he'll put himself in, which is good to see. And I just think if you're with the defensive issues you've got, if you've got someone who's willing, because that wing back role got to be one of the hardest roles in football. That you've got to be so fit to do both defence and attack for 94 minutes. If you've got someone like Iwobi that can do it to a decent standard, just so it gives you that bit of extra cover, I think he might have found his place there. Because that's not the Spurs game. He looked really good in the Fulham. Yeah, really good Fulham game.
I mean, that is
penalty.
Go on, Dale.
I was going to say, I mean, you've just said he looked good there, but let's be honest, he played Burnley. And
that's what I was going to say. It's Fulham, you know.
Yeah, I mean, there was a game when he got beat against Everton. Not Leeds, sorry. And he definitely got found out there in that first half. They were bossing it down. I think he played on the left side that game, and Leeds down the right.
Yeah, they played him back on the left wing, which he seems to push for his natural position, but judging by his performance in the right wing back position, he looks more natural there than he does in his normal what he played for Arsenal, which was left side.
Yeah, I agree completely. It's a strange one, isn't it?
It is an odd one. You know what? If Coleman's out and we've not got a natural right back and he's putting in the performances there, just keep giving him a go.
Put him on one side, put Nkunku on the other side, because that Nkunku is full of running. Like you said, yeah, it might only be cup games, but give him a go. You can only play what's in front of you.
Yeah. I tell you who seems to be ousted out as well, which is a shame, Anthony Gordon.
Yeah, what's happened to him?
It just seems to have been sort of like forced out of the team, and I don't know what it's about, but I've got a lot of time for him. I think he's shown a lot of potential. You know, Everton have produced some good youth players over the years as well. I think he might be our next one, but he's just not being given the time of day at the moment. I think it's a shame.
Do you think it's just because Carlo wants proven players to try and get a run going, and then when he can be a bit more confident to put a youngster in, then he will?
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe he's just trying to solidify a certain style of football that he wants us playing with a certain calibre of team, like obviously like European standard team. And these young lads, like he'd rather not rock the boat at this time. He just wants to make sure that he's got it right because he's got a big job and he knows that more than anyone. So
I don't know if I'm saying this wrong or not, because I know I've not seen enough of Ancelotti's teams and I haven't got enough memory in me to think of it, but he doesn't remind me or strike me as someone who relies on youth that much. I can't remember ever watching him manage other teams and thinking, oh, he's brought X, Y, Z through. Like he always seems to have the players that he likes. Like you said, the first teamers. When he was at Madrid, it was the Galacticos. I don't ever remember seeing him bring anyone through really at Madrid. So maybe that it's not. I don't think it's his policy, if I'm being honest.
You obviously don't remember the likes of De La Red. No, I'm only messing.
Ruben De La Red, mate, what a guy.
Ings has just scored an absolute banger of a penalty.
Yeah, it was. I wanted to say, but I didn't want to interrupt. Like, you can't get more in the side net than that. It was never a penalty. Like, It wasn't even inside the box. I don't know why they give it, but it was a penalty.
VAR.
No, let's not talk about VAR again, please.
They went over it for about half an hour with VAR, and then they were like, even though it's not a penalty area, penalty.
David Coote is the referee who didn't go and look at the screen. So what does that tell you about what we were talking about earlier about referees with confidence at the moment and he not being one of them? Just solidifies it.
Speaking of referees, boys, I want to bring my first nomination for Dickhead of the Week. Here we go. Did anyone see the major highlight from the Bundesliga this weekend?
No. That's what we've got you here for.
Yeah, all right, fair enough. Well, it was a game between Stuttgart and Werder Bremen. And there was a calamity right at the back where I think defender had put a ball been played back through the defence, and the defender tried to flick it back to the keeper, thinking the keeper was still in the net. Keeper was 4 yards away from him.
Oh.
And the striker's nipped in and walks the ball to the goal line, right? Because the keeper's given up on it because he knows he's conceding. It was the 92nd minute, so he casually strolled up to the goal line and then just kicked it in right at the end and got booked for unsportsmanlike behaviour.
Just mad.
That's going to be okay.
Right? What is the difference between that or holding it in the corner?
No.
It's going to be overturned, that.
He's killing time. The problem.
Exactly. Even the commentator was like, and he's going to walk it into the net, he's going to take his time, and why wouldn't you? You're running down the clock, and then he got booked for unsportsmanlike behaviour.
Shit.
And one of Werder Bremen's strikers, Selke, tried kicking off with him about it. So Selke and referee Frank Willenborg, you are my dickhead of the week. That's my nomination.
Referee Mikkel Dean. Michael Dean.
Can I put a dickhead of the week in?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Mine's going to be Connor Cody for his performance last night against Liverpool. I'm not being funny, right? But if he's a Liverpool fan and he played for Liverpool, and if you were ever going to want to put a performance in against your old club, that was not the performance to put in. It was embarrassing for him. And he must have been thinking as he was playing through, he must have been thinking, I'm having a nightmare here. I do not deserve to be in the England squad after this. And Liverpool are no way ever considering bringing me back after this. Because he has been linked with them in the transfer rumours. Yeah. There's no way that they want him back now.
So I was playing football and I missed it. I caught the last 5 minutes on I think it was Radio 5 Live on the way back. And they were saying that it was the worst game of his career. What did he actually do?
Gave away the first goal.
Yeah, he basically chested the ball over his own head for Salah to run onto.
There was no need for him to do it either. I don't know.
He could have just headed it away, but he decided to chest it over himself instead. Yeah. Scouser fucking letting Scousers win.
And then didn't dive for a penalty as well that got overturned.
So it was him. It wasn't. See, it was a dive. He was anticipating the contact, but I don't think he really made a meal of it.
No.
I think the initial decision was sort of an incorrect one. It shouldn't have ever really been considered as a penalty. But you've already rehashed that, so I won't go over it. But yeah, in general, his performance was just not great. He didn't defend well. He's the captain as well. And I just think all the team lost their head and he wasn't really there, getting them upbeat, trying to get back into the game. They lost their head and then they went 3 down, then they went 4 down. You could just tell none of them were interested. And I think he lost his head after he gave away the first goal as well. So he's my dickhead of the week.
I think he realised why he plays in a back 5 and not a back 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the first year they've done that back 5, isn't it? He's not renowned for a back 5 tactic, and this is the first time he's done it. And it didn't work last night, so change it.
He's usually quite reliable, isn't he? And I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but because they don't deserve the attention. But my dickhead of the week is Millwall fans. That's my dickhead of the week.
That's a great shout.
That's what I was going to say.
And I'll let you, because you can probably articulate this a lot better than I can, Lee. But as far as I'm concerned, you're either part of the solution on this, or you're not. If you're either not racist or you're racist. There's no grey area. There's no BLM are a Marxist organisation, or BLM are this, or BLM are that. Football players are not kneeling because they're Marxists. They're not kneeling because they're part of a political movement. They're kneeling because their friends and their family and their teammates and people they know, and people they don't know, people that they've heard stories about, aren't being treated fairly. They're not getting the same treatment as, well, the five of us are, and fucking thousands and millions of other white people who don't have to deal with racism every day. And you get fucking people booing in the stands when players are taking a knee because they're trying to support racial equality, like equality across all colours, all creeds, all. It even goes into like genders and stuff. They've got the rainbow campaign going on this week, haven't they? It goes. It just like it transcends so many different sort of topics of discussion that are more than ever now in focus, and you're trying to like clutch onto straws of, you know, the this and that, and I don't agree with the defunding of police and this, that, and no, you're racist. You're racist. Mm-hmm. That is it. If you are booing, if you do not support players taking a knee, you are racist. That's as far as it goes for me. Yeah. I need to stop talking about it. I could go on a rant about it for a long time. I was disgusted. I was absolutely disgusted with that. I was in the car and I was listening to it on the radio and I couldn't believe it. I actually couldn't believe it.
You took a lot of the words out of my mouth. I was going to nominate the Millwall fans as well because, one thing a lot of people have said is when they found out it was Millwall that had done it, nobody seemed surprised. Millwall themselves as a club weren't surprised because they even put out a statement the night before the game saying that they will continue to do this kneeling at the start of the football match. And they kind of also second-guessed what the racists were going to eventually use as their defence for doing this, for booing, because they put out in their statement before the game saying that this is for racial equality. This kneeling is in support of racial equality, not necessarily a BLM movement that is apparently Marxist and are calling for the defunding of police and all this. So for all of those people to then come out after the game and say, we're booing because we don't want to see it in our game. We pay to go and watch football. No. You pay to go and watch people of all races and ethnicities play football. And by you sitting there and booing in the first game back in the stadium, it's absolutely disgusting. And I think it was, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was Andy Cole.
Any game, doesn't matter if it's
any game. Any game. I think it was Andy Cole that was in the commentary on TalkSport with, or he might have been listening to it played back where Adrian Durham was in the commentary, and you could hear the pain in his voice. And imagine how that must feel for any black people, young, old footballers that are on the pitch at that time, to take a knee in support of racial equality and equality across all spectrums. So then hear your own fans booing you for doing so. Imagine how that must feel. And you could hear the hurt in Andy Cole's voice when he was talking about it and how upset it made him. And I can't ever imagine how that feels. And neither can any of those people who decided that it was the right thing to do and boo that gesture. Now, there are a lot of things that annoy me about this. One of them is people that come out and say things like, it's virtue signaling. It's not virtue signaling. It's using a platform to bring attention to a wide-scale problem in the world. Then there's the whataboutism. So I was having an argument on Twitter last night, as I always do, with some idiot who was basically saying, well, Christians are murdered all over the world, but nobody's kneeling for them. Or that there's genocide going on in Myanmar and no one's kneeling for them. I'm like, okay, so what? And I put it to him and said, so what you're essentially saying is it's okay to boo the players taking a knee for racial equality because they're not spending 50 minutes, an hour at the start of a game, kneeling, parading for every injustice that's going on in the world. So because they're not identifying every single injustice in the world, they deserve to be booed for that. Is that what you're saying? Lo and behold, he didn't reply in the end.
Yeah,
and that's exactly it. They look for these things that try and excuse their actions when in reality, let's just call a spade a spade. You're a racist. If you don't agree with what's going on, and if you try and cover up the idea that, oh, we don't like the BLM movement. We never booed the kick it out campaigns and stuff. No, because there's no physical gesture within the match. So I bet if they would kneeled for the kick it out campaign in the past, you probably would have booed that. So I just think I can't actually believe that this kind of thing is still happening in modern day. And the problem is, because it gets shrouded with these excuses, it adds legitimacy to it for those people to continue doing it. And now, when challenged, they'll just say, well, they're a political organisation. I don't want to see politics in football. Yeah, why do you wear poppies then in the football ground? Is that not the same thing? So yeah, I'm sick of it, and I can't believe, and I feel so sorry for the people that it affects most. I don't care that they take a knee at the start of every game because I'm not a racist, and it doesn't affect me directly. The people it does affect is the people that it matters the most to, and the people that have a problem with it are the people who are deep down a racist, and that's the only way it is. I'm sick of seeing it now. I just can't stand it. It means nothing to the people it doesn't affect, but it means everything to the people it does affect. So, yeah, that's me.
You know what the mad part is, right? No one was surprised it was Millwall.
Exactly.
Like, no one was shocked. You said it in the chat. Yeah, imagine the shock on my face. Oh, wait, there wasn't one. The people I really feel sorry for, and this is an interesting discussion, which we could have another day. If you're a Millwall player, or the Millwall manager, because I watched the interview with the Millwall manager after the game, and he was genuinely just gobsmacked and disgusted and trying to, and I understand why, but trying to squirm out of every question because you're not trained. Like, obviously these football managers, they get trained to deal with pressers, and not a situation that no one is ever trained for. And he wants to talk about his football team. His job is a football manager. He wants to talk about the 11 men that lost on that game day. Like, that's what he wants to talk about. He wants to get in that dressing room and deal with his team. And he's known as the manager of the racist football club. Yeah. And it's not the club itself that's racist. And it's not the players that are racist. It's not the manager that's racist. And if I'm a Millwall player and that happens to me, I would genuinely walk off the pitch.
Yeah, I would.
And I would ask the board to terminate my contract, and I would go elsewhere, because fuck being associated with that club. Yeah, is absolutely disgusting. Mm-hmm. Like, if you're playing, I don't know what level Millwall are. Are they Championship or League One?
Championship, yeah.
Championship. If you're playing for Millwall in Championship, there is another 23 teams in that league, which I'm sure will be very happy to take you. I'm sure there's probably a few teams in the Premier League that will be happy to take you. And if not, you take a step down and go to League One, and everyone will be happy to take you. Go and win Player of the Season there, mate. It's awful. And I wouldn't be shocked if we saw players start to leave. We're moving to this era of player power and players starting to have more ownership of the rights and what they do as a player. We saw it last week with Ibrahimovic and Gareth Bale sending a lawsuit over to EA Sports about using the likeness in games. Yeah. Players have more power now rather than ever. And in fact, I think I'll be more shocked if there's not a few players that decide to terminate their contract from Millwall if this carries on. Because if they don't do it, then they are part of the problem, because they are accepting the fact that club, and it's okay to do that.
I just think that there's so many things that are happening in this day and age, and I think that things like the government and their stance on these issues, the way that migrants are treated, asylum seekers in the mainstream, everything that goes on, and the way that the media portray these Black Lives Matter protests, mainly in America. But again, you have the people who say this is an American problem, not our problem. I'm sorry, but you're just a walking contradiction by saying that. And then you also get the people who, and I actually hate it, but you get the people that say, "Oh, this woke brigade." No, it's not woke. It's just standing against the shit values that you have, and you don't like it, so you call it something. people that say it's free speech. No, I'm sorry, but there's no free speech against racism and discrimination. You don't get an opinion on being racist. Like, it's just not, it doesn't exist. So it despairs me, really. It's 2020 and it still happens, but it almost feels like it's getting worse. But then it's not. All it is these people are starting to feel like they've got more of a platform than being more enabled. I don't think that people are getting more racist. I think that more people are being brave enough to speak out about it, because at the end of the day, you can say whatever you want on Twitter nowadays with a hidden behind a fake profile, and they do say whatever they want hidden behind a fake profile. And these people end up in echo chambers where they think it's okay to do it because they are grouped in with loads of other people that say and do it. And then there's the trolls that think it's funny to do it. And I bet they're all sat around these. And the problem with Millwall was it wasn't just a few, it wasn't just 10, 20, it was hundreds of them.
Yeah.
And that was another shocking part of it. It's just mad. I can't believe it's still happening.
I think it's important for us to even spend like 10 minutes on it, just talk about it and stuff. Like, usually we're quite, just five lads getting pissed talking football, aren't we? But I can't even, I'll let you speak, Danny. I just can't fathom it. I can't get my head around it. I really can't.
Oh, what I was just about to say where you were there, like, with us not doing anything about it, we're part of the problem. Like, it's not enough to not do anything.
Yeah.
Like, we need to be speaking about it. And I think, Lee, especially there, I think you've really articulated yourself well there, mate. And even if one person listens to this and it changes their opinion, then what we've done is good in the world. I'd like to think that the people that listen to this podcast are not the type of people that will go and boo someone kneeling for something that doesn't affect them. But if they are, I hope they've listened to this and they've had their eyes opened a little bit. So not to end on a somber note, Dale, you have any nominations for Dickhead of the Week?
No, mine would have been exactly the same. Same as you guys there for Millwall. I think that, it's just disgraceful, isn't it? And it's a shame that happened. I mean, it's not something, like I said, I didn't see it at the time. I read about it, not long after. And it was just like, I just felt myself saying to myself, what the actual fuck, just reading it up on Sky Sports, and totally unacceptable. But yeah, I mean, like I said, yourself and Chris Lee there just said it all there. It's not something we want to see at all. So yeah.
Well, I think by unanimous decision, and the worst part is these guys will be proud of this decision. But congratulations, selection of Millwall fans, you are our Dickheads of the Week.
Yeah.
Let's hope we never see it again.
And do you know what?
Dickheads of the year.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Nothing personal against the team as well, the players and the club and everything itself. But don't you just love that all of those fans did that and then went and lost?
The Wayne Rooney's Derby County.
Yeah.
Bottom of the league, Derby County. Go on, son. Never has anyone wanted a team to lose more than everyone wanted Millwall to lose the other day. Again, no disrespect to the players and stuff, but
I follow Kazim Richards on Instagram. Oh, yeah. He's a Derby player, and he put a post up about it. And it's just disgusting that.
What did he put up? I've not seen it. I'm going to look for it now.
Just in obviously sort of speaking out about how disgusting it is, just like those boys are doing now. But he, obviously, see you later, Dale. I've got nothing more to add than what you boys have already said so well. But I think it goes without saying that anything like this, any behaviour like this, will always unanimously win Dickhead or Dickheads of the Week in this chat.
Yeah, and the thing is as well, like we've made this like faux award as a like a tongue-in-cheek, a little elbow prod. Hey, you bell end. I've nominated that referee for something stupid. You've nominated Conor Cody for a really bad decision. But you two bringing it up there, you're absolutely spot on. Like, it is fucking disgraceful. It's not something. I was going to say game there. No, it's not something we want in life. Like, it's just awful. And they've taken this tongue-in-cheek award that we do to have a bit of laugh at people. We've had to bring politics into our fun football podcast, and no one wants that at all. No one wants to. We don't want to have serious talks. It's important that we have them, and I'm really proud of us boys that we can sit down here and talk about it. And like I said earlier, I hope it opens at least one person's eyes. I'm not going to lie, boys. I don't think we need to go over it anymore. I think we've fucking been brilliant here.
Mm-hmm. It's an awkward conversation to have, in it. I'm moving on now, but it's an awkward conversation to have, and I think that's why so many people avoid having it. And the reason why it's so awkward for us is because we literally just don't get it. Like, we don't get how it feels.
We're privileged. Yeah, we're privileged.
Ever gonna understand how it feels, but the hurt, like. I was hurting, like, when I was in the car and I heard it on the radio, like, say they were live on TalkSport from the Den, and I heard it, and it hurt me. It hurt me to hear it. Like, I just felt like I wanted the ground to swallow me up. I was like, surely not. This is not fucking happening. So imagine how people of any colour, of any background, imagine how they're feeling at the time, even now, thinking, fucking hell, man, is that what people think about me? Is that how low people think about me, that they don't want me to be their equal? Shocking. Shocking, it really is.